Welcome to this Academy lesson, where we'll explore the full workflow for creating environments, also called mods or rooms, in the Expector metaverse using the EDK toolkit. Throughout the video, we'll also use the term mods, which refers to the same thing as environments. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be fully equipped with the steps to create, optimize, and prepare your environments for deployment. The first thing you'll need is the latest version of the EDK. You can find the download link on our Discord, as mentioned in earlier lessons. Once you've downloaded the EDK and opened it, which is essentially an Unreal Engine project, we can move on to the next step. First, head over to the Edit menu and open the Plugins section. Click on the Add button to create a new plugin. Select the plugin type called Game Feature Content Only. It's usually the first option on the list. Once you've selected it, you'll need to give it a name. The file path doesn't need to be changed, so you can leave it as is. In the plugin name field, go ahead and type the name of your environment. In this case, we'll call it My First Mod. You can choose a different name if you prefer, like the name of your project. Now click Create Plugin and let it finish. Once it's created, the very first thing you need to do is save it. This is crucial. After saving, change the game feature current state to loaded and save it again. Then, click on the Edit Plugin button and adjust the initial state of the feature to registered. Hit OK, and don't forget to save one more time. Great job! You've successfully created the game feature for your environment. Next, open the Content drawer and find your newly created plugin folder. If you don't see the Plugins section, click on Settings in the Content browser, located in the top right corner, and enable Show Plugin Content. Now you should be able to locate your game feature folder. In this case, it's named My First Mod Content. This is where all of your environment's assets will be stored. Currently, you'll only see the data asset file, so it's time to create folders for the assets you'll be importing or creating for your environment. Start by creating a folder for your map or level. Let's call this folder Map. This is where you'll store your map or level files. To do this, click on File, then select New Level. Be sure to choose the basic model, as other level models are not supported in the EDK yet. After creating your new level, save it into the map folder you just created. Click the Save icon, locate the map folder, and name your map. For consistency, let's call it My First Map. Now that the basic setup is complete, it's time to start creating your environment. You can build it directly within the editor or import it from external 3D software like Blender, Maya, or any other tool you're comfortable with. Just remember, nanite meshes are not supported in the EDK, so you'll need to avoid using them. There's also a few other limitations to keep in mind while building your environment. Don't use C++ code, large world coordinates, or world partitions, as these features are not compatible with our system. However, feel free to use blueprints for your environment without any issues. Be sure to organize your project files properly. All materials should be saved in a folder called Materials. All the textures in a folder called Textures, and the same goes for all the assets. Please keep in mind that all your assets has to be stored inside your game feature folder in order to be packed in the mod later. Also, keeping everything structured and neatly named will make integration smoother. Please follow the Unreal Engine recommended asset naming convention for naming all your assets. For instance, use MI for material instances, SM for static meshes, TR for textures, and BPR for blueprints, etc. Once again, make sure all of your assets, whether materials, textures, or anything else, are stored within the game feature plugin. If they're located elsewhere, they won't be packed properly when your mod is finalized. Next, it's important to set up proper collisions for all your models. This ensures that players can interact with the environment as expected in the metaverse. Double-check each model to make sure the collision looks good and works correctly with the player character. Now, let's set the player start position. To do this, click on the Place Actors icon, and from the basic list, select the Player Start actor. Position it wherever you want the player to spawn when entering your environment. Once you've placed the player's start position, checked collisions, and applied your materials, it's time to test everything. Use the Simulate option in Unreal Engine to see if your environment behaves as expected. Make sure it complies with all the standards and limitations we mentioned, like no C++ coding, no nanite meshes, and sticking to blueprints when needed. Now let's move on to placing the exit portal in your environment. This portal will lead visitors back to the city, right in front of your facade. To get started, create a new folder named Portal within your Game Feature folder. Then, locate the default portal blueprint. You can find it in the core folder of the EDK. The blueprint we'll use is called BP Portal Doorway. Copy this blueprint into your newly created Portal folder and rename it to something unique. For this tutorial, we'll call it BP Exit Portal. Once renamed, place the portal in your environment, typically at the exit of the building. However, you can position it wherever you think fits best. You're free to rotate and scale the portal as needed. If you want to replace the default visual effects with your own custom effects or static style, you can modify the Niagara effect within the portal's blueprint. Though, note that the default VFX won't be visible in the editor until it's uploaded to the metaverse, so for now, just ensure the portal is positioned correctly. To make the portal function properly, there are two key things to configure. First, in the portal blueprint's details, set the destination link key to main exit. Then, in the editor preferences, configure the main exit link to ensure the portal knows where to send visitors when they leave your environment. On the provided screenshot, you'll see how to set up these link fields to direct visitors back to the town square. You can replicate that setup in your own environment. The Start tag determines the exact position where the player will respawn. If you leave this field empty, the player will respawn at the default map position, which is also fine. You can find the list of other regions' level URLs and start tags in the Builders section on our Discord server. Just copy and paste the appropriate details from there, and your portal will be fully functional. Once all tests have been passed and your environment is working as expected, the final step is to clean up your project. Delete any unnecessary assets from your Game Feature content folder, unused textures, materials, plugins, and blueprints to reduce the file size and make the mod easier to manage. We are now ready to proceed to the second half of the lesson, which is essentially packing or modding the environment. Okay, now we will be exporting our mod using a tool called the Hot Patcher. You can access it by clicking on this icon in the toolbar. Once we are in the Hot Patcher, we need to click on the drop-down menu and select By Game Feature. Next, we need to add a feature, so click on the plus button in the Feature Names field. Now, fill in the blank field with the name of our game feature, which in this case is My First Mod. This name should be the same as the one we created recently in our plugin step. The next thing is to define the target platform on which the application will be played. Click on the plus icon in the Target Platform field and select Windows from the drop-down menu as our target platform. The last thing to define in this step is where we want to export our mod. Let's create a new folder in our project named Mods as the place where we will export our mod. Click Select Folder. Now we are ready to generate the game feature, so click the button in the bottom right corner of the window. This process may take a while, even up to a couple of hours if the mod is large, so give it time to process. In the log window, if all good, there should be no red errors, and you should see a message saying that the Game Feature Packager mission is successful. This means we've completed this step, and we are ready to proceed. Good job. The next step, called XS Modding, is where we will generate some JSON files for the assets we already exported. Now let's head over to the Editor Preferences in the Edit menu and find the Modding Preferences in the XS section. Click on it. You'll see a lot of information, but don't worry, we just need the Dependencies and Exportable Levels sections. you can minimize all other sections. In the Dependencies section, create a new one by clicking the plus icon next to the map elements. Give it a name and fill in the empty field. Let's name it, for example, Tutorial Mod. And its content is the game feature itself, so type in My First Mod as content. We don't need to fill in anything else for now. Next, we need to export this Tutorial Mod we just created. Select the Game Feature Output folder by clicking on the three dots icon and selecting the same one used in Hotpatcher, which is the folder called Mods. Next, select a folder to export our dependencies by choosing the Dependencies Output folder field and clicking the three dots. Inside the Mods folder, create another subfolder called Localhost and click Select Folder. Now we need to bake the dependency platform files, so just click on this drop-down menu and select our Tutorial Mod. We also need to export our dependency JSON file. Select this drop-down menu and again choose our Tutorial Mod. Head to the next section, the Exportable Levels. In the Exportable Level by Entry Name field, click on the plus icon to open a new empty field. Fill this field with the name of our level to export, which we'll call Tutorial Map. Inside the tutorial map itself, fill in the asset path. This path is the file path of our map, located in our plugin folder under Map. The path should look like /myfirstmod/map/myfirstmap. The display name is up to you, so let's call it Tutorial Map for now. The next step is to define at least one dependency URL. Click on the plus icon and fill in the URL as http://localhost:8000/myfirstmod. The dependency is the tutorial mod we created, so don't forget to add the file extension, which is .xspectormod. The last step here is to select a folder to export the level. In the folder field, click the three dots and select the local host folder we created earlier. Now, in the Export Level JSON command drop-down menu, select the tutorial map. We have successfully exported the JSON file. Awesome! We can now close the Editor Preferences window. With the XS modding step finished, we can proceed to the next step. This step is simple and straightforward. We just need to host our exported app locally to test it out. First, switch from Unreal Editor to Windows Explorer and locate the local host folder inside your project folder. While in this folder, hold the left shift on your keyboard and right-click with the mouse. In the menu, select the option to open the PowerShell terminal. Once in the PowerShell terminal, type the following command: python-m http.server and hit enter. If everything is correct, you should see the message serving HTTP on port 8000. This means we've successfully hosted our application locally. Now let's move on the next step and let's try out our application. Let's download a test Expectar application from the same link where we downloaded the EDK kit. Unzip the test application and run it. Now in the testing interface, we need to load our application. First, create a room by clicking Join. In the new window, click Create a Room. You'll see an empty field that says Paste the mod URL. Type in the URL of our locally hosted app as http://localhost:8000/tutorialmap.xspector. If everything is set up correctly, the room name will be filled in automatically. Click Enter. You'll be prompted to download all necessary files to load the room, so click Download. Congratulations! We are now in the application, and it's working as expected. Amazing job! Finally, once your environment is ready and exported, it's time to upload it on the provided Google Drive. Please request an upload link from our team. They will send your personal upload location. Inside Windows Explorer, please zip and compress the whole EDK project folder. Now feel free to upload your environment zip file on the provided link. Make sure to name your zip file or folder you uploaded to your project name and environment for easy access by the 3D development team. Once the upload is finished, Notify the team on Discord that you successfully uploaded the environment on the dedicated Google Drive link. The very last step is to fill the EDK upload form, where you want to leave some details and informations about your creation so our team can check it and implement it into the metaverse. The EDK upload form can be found in our Discord server in the Builders Link zone. You have now finalized the environment creation process. Amazing job! Now let's proceed to the next lesson.